Welcome to Mobile Agent TV. I am Michael Thorne of Remax Little Oak Realty in Langley, BC. And my co-host, as always, is Dave Falkware from Bridgewater, New Jersey's Remax Preferred Professionals in the Enviro Realty team. Dave, you have no idea how much I've missed saying that. We've had a crazy spring market, summer market for us, and for you too as well. I mean, talk about work real quick.
Yes, it's been the crazy. I'm doing this 35 years. It's the first time it's been this crazy consistently for this long. It's nuts. It's not just crazy buyers sellers as usual. It's just a lot of business. It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming.
And so totally missed doing this. No, exactly. And and one of the things we've harped on for 3 years now, Dave, is we're active agents. We're out doing this, and I want to credit all of our guests for the past 104 episodes. A lot of the reasons why it's the busiest we've been is we're doing the things that you and I talk about on the show consistently, Dave, and our business can continue to grow. I know you've got big ambitions to continue to grow it, and so we're learning and we're implementing, and that results in busier and busier times. Yep.
I mean, and what we did, we just sort of stopped. That's why we stopped and slowed down and said, okay, we can't keep up with all the change. So let's just grasp onto some of it. Let's pick what the stuff we know is going to work. And we did that, and it just keeps coming.
So a little bit off of our game. We had a little technical difficulties. Google Hangouts is now gone. We've left that. We're now broadcasting live through YouTube, and so there was a little bit of a hassle getting going, but we're going. And before we get to today's amazing guest, this is going to be one of the best shows. I know, Dave, you're super excited about this, but a few things, and it actually has to do with today's topic. Former guest on this show, it's going to come full circle. Right now, we are at Leo Bruno's office. Leo Bruno came on the show with Vince Mirabelli a while ago, talking about the value of creating, giving back to your community, coming from a place of abundance. We're going to get in that today, and we're at Leo's place. But I do want to tie it around to Vince Mirabelli. Vince Mirabelli, for everyone watching, is the very first Canadian ever to be nominated for the Realtor.com Good Neighbor Award. First non-American ever to be nominated. There's 3 Remaxers nominated out of 10. And so I think you get to vote every day or something like that. You get to go to Realtor.com/Good Neighbor. And for us Canadians, that's neighbor without a U. So it's OR at the end opposed to OUR. So go there, check out the 3 Remax agents. But you guys have heard Vince's story. Vince was a big part of this trip. And so without getting to the trip a little bit, just quickly, 30 seconds on Vince Mirabelli.
Vince Mirabelli. You often wonder how a heart can fit into a body, a heart that big, right? He's got one of the biggest hearts of any human I've ever known in my life. He can't help but give. He can't help it.
And makes no deal about the fact that he's doing it.
Nope.
Does it quietly. So you can go there, go vote for him. Vince is in Thunder Bay, Ontario. There's some other Remaxers on there too, but go into it. Before we dive into today's show, I want to let you know, guys, we're back. We're back with vengeance. We're booked up now for a couple months, and I'm going to tease you out some of the guests that we've got lined up for the fall. We've got Chris Lindahl, Lori Van Dinther, Kim Miner, Keith Roy, Glenn Shimkiss, Sharon and Tamara Stone. I said Tamara right. Awesome. Laura Monroe, Valerie Garcia, Ravi Singh, Veronica Figueroa. I'll get it right. And tons more coming, guys. We've got a crazy fall schedule for you guys. Super excited to be back. But this episode, sometimes you wonder where the conversation is going to go and if we're going to fill it up. We're going to fill it up. We've got we got Kleenex ready for Bruce, and we're ready to go. But I want to introduce today's guest. He is Bruce Johnson. He was on this show for episode 50, one of the best episodes we've ever done. And we're back, episode 105. Bruce Johnson on Twitter. As always, we always read our guest 160 Twitter bio. You can get him on Twitter at The Home Hunt, and it reads, sale representative for Remax of Wasaga Beach, brokerage since 1997, serving Wasaga Beach and Collingwood, Ontario, founder of motorcycleformiracles.com. Bruce, dear friend of mine, thanks for coming back.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's always a pleasure. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
So you know what? It was a different journey. So let's talk about, you just finished up journey number 2 for Motorcycle for Miracles, and let's say some people are looking in on this, or someone else has shared this online saying this is what you have to watch this episode. Someone who doesn't know the story of Motorcycle for Miracles, I think every single time you went on a stop for the last 31 days, you sort of held court with a group of people and quickly said, this is why we're doing this. This is our story. So let's start there. Give us the 4-minute, 5-minute, what is Motorcycle for Miracles?
Okay. It would always depend on the crowd that we're talking to. So if it was a hospital crowd, it wouldn't be so Remax centric. If it's a Remax crowd, if it's an office we're trying to convert to a Miracle office, it would be a much different talk. So the broader description of the trip, I guess, would be that my daughter and I, Holly Johnson, hi Holly, hi Jossie, hi Mary. Holly and I have taken 2 motorcycle trips for the Children's Miracle Network. It's a series of 170 hospitals across North America, and we have 14 of these in Canada. And we did a trip to Costa Rica in 2013, 2014, and we wanted to raise $25,000 for the hospitals. And I think we capped off that trip before this trip started, and that trip ended at about $107,000. So it's been wilder than we'd ever imagined. And the new journey, Holly and I thought, wouldn't it be neat to go across Canada and make it just about the 14 hospitals in Canada and raise awareness of the CMN, the Children's Network, Children's Miracle Network in Canada. So that was the goal. So we have a thing called the Remax Month of Miracles. And from August the 1st to August 31st every year, Remax agents all over North America do wild things. They have car washes and bake sales and dunk tanks and things like that. And all the proceeds go to the Children's Miracle Network. And they support their local hospitals through this. So Remax, just so you folks know, Remax agents, since we've started donating in North America, we've given over $152 million to that. And $62 million of that has come from Canada. So that's a lot of money coming in from Remax agents, and that's out of their commission checks, selling the homes in their communities. The agents who are part of the Miracle Home program are giving back because they're supporting the children of the families who live in those communities. So it's a wonderful thing that Dave and Gail Lineker gave to us as Remax agents.
And Dave, you've said many, many times, as someone that's been with Remax for a very long time, it's sort of a new to me, but you're a huge CMN supporter, Dave, and it's really in the fabric of, where, about, it's one of the things that is like really in there about why you are a Remax agent, or it's one of your sort of value things. Talk about, your connection with CMN, being with Remax for so much longer than I have.
Well, I don't know, many years ago, it's kind of comfortable saying that anymore. It's been a long time. Back when I first started with Remax, CMN was kind of new, and we were doing little garage sales, little things like that. And it's sort of, like you said, it's become a fun event and a good way to give back. And now look where it's gone with things like what Bruce does. I can tell you that, I served as the chairman of the state of New Jersey Children's Miracle Network fundraising event for a couple of years. I went around to different Remax offices. We can do it here in New Jersey because we're like 20 miles wide and 40 miles high. And it was, it's very rewarding. It's just it's a very rewarding thing to do. And it just something that's dear to my heart. I wish I was young enough that I could do what Bruce is doing. I really do.
Oh, Dave.
So on that note, one of the things in getting to talk to you quite a bit this trip, and getting to know you a lot more in the past 2 years than the initial trip was sort of my introduction to you, really. I mean, your first trip happened just shortly after I got to Remax. And one of the things you said here that really hit home for me is you were a Remax agent and you were a Miracle agent before Alyssa.
Right.
And so I can see someone going through what you and Mary went through with Alyssa and saying, now we have to get involved. But it's almost serendipitous that you were already a Miracle agent before you needed CMN.
Yeah, and I've spoken a lot about that on this trip because I want agents to understand. I like the karmic nature of that. I like the fact that we didn't come to CMN with our hat in our hands. We were already supporting it. When my sister Marilyn pushed that sheet of paper across the desk and had me sign it when I first started 20 years ago, I said, "What's this?" She said, "Oh, that's the Miracle Home program. We all support in this office." And brokers out there, that's how you need to approach that. We all support this. It's what we do. We're all swimming the same way. We're a team. You don't want to sign this? Maybe there's another office that might suit you better. It's part of the corporate culture. So Maryland, there was no, would you like to sign this? Would you like, it's the Miracle Home Program. I didn't even know what it was. I honestly didn't even know we had a children's hospital in Toronto. It had never entered my life. I didn't have children. And very fortunate family. None of my nieces or nephews had ever had to go either. So when we had Alyssa and we realized she was going to have some significant challenges, I didn't think of it then, but with time, you think back and you think, wow, I'm really glad I was supporting it first. I'm really glad I was supporting it first. So if you're not in the system right now, Miracle agents out there, you can become a Miracle Home agent very, very quickly. It's about a 15-second process with your admin. That's how quickly it is.
And the real way to be able to do that is go visit a hospital. I mean, once you visited a hospital, you have all the doubts in the world about what you're giving your money to, but go visit a hospital. They'll gladly give you a tour, see the kids there, see what they do. You're going to come out and it's just it's life-changing. It's life-changing. The first time I went, I came away like, it's unbelievable experience.
So on that note, Bruce, you've had the opportunity to sort of pitch why, let's say, the individual agent should be a Miracle agent from coast to coast across Canada. You've spent the last 31 days plus another 5 or 6 pitching to agents why. What have you found in that storytelling that resonates with an agent of why they should? Have you sort of honed down on that, why that one thing that really makes them go, I get it now?
There's maybe 2 types of people that you're going to reach, because not everybody has children or an attachment to children the way that majority of us do, right? So if an agent is approaching it just from a business standpoint, I say to them, look, if you're going in for a listing presentation and you have a Miracle Home rider, and you say to them, because they're going to say, why do you have that large plastic thing with you? Oh, it's a Miracle Home program. I'm an agent, and I support this, and I donate a portion of the commission from the sale of your home. Already you're above anybody in your local market, because you're showing them how much you care right from the start. You're showing them that you give back. That's very important for people to know that. But if you're coming at it from a position of family, those are the folks that I connect with very quickly on the trip. When someone says to me, yeah, Bruce, I get it, I support, they're the ones who are asking to double up. Agents who have set up their program 15, 20 years ago and they started giving $20 or $25, they're the ones who are trying to say, hey, revisit your amount and kick it up to 25. If it's 25, make it 50, 50, make it 100. Double that up, because it's just always so dramatically needed. But the message that you want to get to people is just keep supporting this. And the agents in your office who aren't supporting it, just lean on their desk a little harder and say, look, let's all swim the same way here. Very important.
And Dave, you said that as a very emotional standpoint. Go to a CMN hospital, see the kids. You'll come back a changed person. Let's take all that good reasons, the charitable donations, it's good for your soul, giving back to the community. Let's take that all and just put that aside. I'm not discounting that, but let's just put it aside for the conversation. And say, as a business standpoint, your opportunity to label your house a Miracle Home, it's worth $25 or $50 for the marketing aspect of it. If you're only approaching this as a business, for 3 agents, myself and both my agents, that would be Miracle agents since the moment we joined Remax, because very much there was no other choice. You sort of had to do it. That, as a business standpoint, has been a very, very smart decision. Dave, just for marketing, just listing presentations, all that sort of stuff. I mean, you must do that in a listing presentation, Dave, where people go, that means something to me. They must share a story about that to them. So talk about that. Look at these clowns back here. That's Frank from Germany.
You know what else there is? There is a such thing as karma. And if you just kind of do these things, the world will pay you back. It'll pay you back how it chooses to do that, but it usually pays you back in kind. If you're out there giving with no expectations of anything in return, it will come back to you. Michael, do you happen to know the episode where Bruce first appeared on the
50? Episode 50. We'll put
that's another thing I'd encourage.
We'll put a link here.
Yeah, I would encourage everybody to go back and look at that episode. That episode was like, that's one of our best ever, and it really tells the story, the background story before we even got to where we are today. Yeah. And then go from there, go visit a hospital, and then I challenge you, you're not going to give to the Children's Miracle Network, or you're not going to, in your own way, or you're not going to run an event, or just increase the amount of money you do from each closing. I don't know. I would kind of find it kind of bizarre if you didn't.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you, you guys mind that episode 50. I often go back and watch that because it's a history of the first journey for me. So I'm forever grateful for you guys for doing that. But in that episode, you got me. I think I was home for 2 weeks after 5 months of traveling for the CMN. And this one here, it's unique because I'm still technically on the trip. I'm in Vancouver with Michael. And I'm flying home tonight actually with Mary. So the emotions are still, and that's what I love about the episode 50. My emotions were still very high. They're still very high here now. I wish Holly was here to share in this moment with me. We left a lot on the road. There's a lot of, I was prepared for the physical aspect of the journey. No problem riding across Canada. I don't think I was remotely prepared for the emotional energy that we spent every day. That was the currency we were using across the country, and my pockets are empty for emotions right now. They really are. It's just lovely. My heart is full. It's so full.
We had it. We were a pleasure to have him at our house for a couple nights, and to be around him and to share in the store. And then after he left, my wife and I, we both agreed that we were exhausted. We were tired from being emotionally around him and going to a couple events. We won the Fraser Valley, won the Vancouver, and hearing the story. And we were emotionally drained, and then to realize that he's been doing it for 31 days straight, to go through that emotion all the time, to meet those people, to hear the stories, to be the sounding board for stories. Because I really think people see you as sort of a champion of, here's someone that I can relate to. And on that note, let's jump into it. There's two things that play a character. There's two characters in this trip that aren't human. Right? There's Holly and there's Bruce, but then there's Miracle the motorcycle,
Yep.
which plays a huge character, the starring role of the journey, and I think Flag is a character in the journey. So we have the flag to show you guys.
It's right here.
So this flag has all 14 logos of the 14 CMN hospitals across Canada, and then it has the Motorcycle for Miracle in the middle, and then the Remax logo. And the signatures on here, I can point right there's my boy Keaton's signature and Carter's signatures around here. Let's talk about the emotion or the historical document that the flag becomes over the 31 days, because this is the second time they've done a flag. The previous flag sold at R4 for, I believe, $30,000, and you've done it again. Talk about the why this is so special. It's tangible. People get excited to touch it, feel like that's their record of participation somehow.
Yeah, and you were there at Vancouver Hospital. I'm glad you were there at BC Children's, because you saw me talking about the emotion. It's tangible. You can feel the emotion in the flag. We've had agents who have very, very sad stories sign the flag. A lot of tears in the flag. We've had families, CMN families. We've had champion children. They're the children each hospital in North America gets to pick to represent the hospital for that year. They attend events. They share their story to help people realize how powerful children's hospitals are. They're on here. There are names on here. I'll look at this flag for the rest of my life and remember when they were signing it, what their story was. So when you touch it, it's almost electric. It's hard to describe, isn't it? Seeing it on the screen, guys, it's not the same as Michael touching it when he was there, when he was signing it. You were teary. I was teary.
Yeah.
Watching your boys sign this document, and they're a part of this flag forever. We have brokers on here who lost children. We have brokers on here from Ottawa whose children are still fighting for their lives right now. I had the absolute honor, and I might be jumping the gun on the story. I think we're going to talk about it later, but had the absolute honor of meeting a family at BC Children's, and I just can't get them out of my head. Their story is profound. I travel. It's unfortunate I don't have my keychain with me because Miracle's being created right now by BMW Canada and being shipped home. My key's in the bike. Normally I travel. In fact, the last trip I had it on my jacket. It's a tiny handprint. And people would always ask me, what's the significance of the hand? I'd say, well, that's the handprint of the smallest child they've ever saved for CMN. Child born around 24, 25 weeks.
And it's remarkably tiny.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, it'd be smaller than this logo on my shirt. And so I was talking about this at BC Children's. And my friend Bryce Hansen from Comox, who's also a champion agent, we'll talk about champion agents briefly. Bryce said, look, I've got some friends in the hospital, Bruce. I'd love for you to meet them. And they're there, and they'd had twins at 24 weeks and a day. Viability for a human child is 24 weeks is extremely, extremely young. And so they came out and joined our flag signing. I'm honored to have Fraser and Allie on here. They lost their twin Violet, and her sister Lily is she's fighting right now. She's a strong little girl. But we just the honor of being able to go in and meet them. And Allie said to me when she saw that hand, she said, "Oh, Lily's hand's smaller than that," and it was. It's small. I've told that story 1,000 times in front of people, and to meet a child for the first time ever, meet their daughter, and to see her little tiny hand in the incubator. You want to talk about energy in a document? It's in here. They're on here. Lily and Violet will be on this flag forever. They're a part of the story, and I say to people all the time, we carry you with us. I carry them. They're a massive part of the story. I will never forget seeing her hand.
So, and because I was there, because it was a very, very jubilant day.
Yeah.
It was the end of your journey. We've raised all this money. There's a crowd there. There's cameras there. And then you could see these two sort of off to the side. And then you pulled them aside, and I was like, where's Bruce? And I could see you pulled aside talking to these two young people, probably, early 30s, late 20s. And you could tell that it was a different conversation than the previous 100 I'd seen you have over the previous 3 days. What do you say to someone who has been in a very similar position that you've been through, but you've had a lifetime to reflect back on that moment? What do you say to someone like that?
It's kind of ironic that I had just been telling Bryce at the hospital. I said to him, because every time I'm in a hospital with a different group, I always say, "Oh, being a parent in that building is a real challenge." And I was telling him the story that when Alyssa was little, when she was 15, I think at the point when we knew we were going to lose her.
Sorry. Context.
Yeah, sorry.
You lost Alyssa.
We lost her.
People that haven't gone back.
Sorry,
People know about 20 days.
Yeah,
right?
20 days old.
20 days.
Our first child.
You and Mary lost your daughter Alyssa
in 1998.
Okay.
Got sick at the hospital.
Sorry.
She was born with a large encaphalocele. She couldn't survive that. So we lost her 20 days. And I was saying to Bryce, there's times I would walk outside just to get some air at Sicketts Hospital, and I'd stand on the street and somebody would laugh walking by, and I'd want to strangle them. It's not a logical thought. I'd want to strangle them. I'd think, how can you be laughing when the world is stopping upstairs on the second floor of this hospital? My universe is coming to an end, and someone's joyful. That's not a logical thought. And so we're down in front of BC Children's, and we're having this really jubilant, that's a perfect word, a celebration of us arriving. And Holly and I, we completed what Holly and I had talked about for quite a while. And there's Allie and there's Fraser, and that moment, I was reminded of that moment when I saw them. And so I pulled them aside, and I just wanted to talk to them parent to parent, because it's been 18 years for us, and they're just sailing into it. So yeah, and I've talked to a lot of parents. Mary and I have talked to a lot of parents over the years, actually, about the loss of children, or about children who've had a really tough go. The thing about children's hospitals is it just gives kids a boost at their most vulnerable. That's the thing. It's not a lifestyle thing. They didn't do anything to be there. How is a child born with liver cancer? Well, I just met a child born with liver cancer in Ottawa, a child of a wonderful Remax family. What do they do to deserve that? Nothing. So this is why I want to do everything that we possibly can to give these kids the lift they need to get them through that, so they can go on to lead corporations and change the world with an invention. They grow up to be these things. We just need to give them a lift. So that's what all the funds are doing. I know I'm getting off topic, but that's what all the funds go to. It's about giving a kid a lift when they need it most. That's what all of this is about. So just pray that Allie and Fraser's little girl Lily gets that boost from that hospital. But there's no better place in the world for her to be right now.
Amazing.
Wonderful couple.
On that note, what will be the future of the flag? What will become of this flag?
We took the last flag to R4, gave it to the Linigers. David Gail Liniger, they were the founders of Remax, as you know. They donated it back to the Children's Miracle Network Big Give auction, and it then sold for $30,000. I'm not expecting the flag to fetch that kind of money again. That was a remarkable moment in history. I don't know, like it was the perfect storm of emotion and the right people being there. But I don't know. But I think this is going to R4 again, even though it's an international centric event. I think the Canadian contingent there will certainly, someone's going to buy this flag and take it and put it somewhere wonderful, I think.
And the money goes
Directly to the Lister Fund in Toronto. It's CMN Hospital. It goes right to the CMN.
Yeah,
every dime. And every dime of the trip, every dime Holly and I paid for the trip ourselves, the Johnson family pays. And I always like to say this to people because I don't want them thinking they're donating money and some of it's going to my gas or my, you actually paid for a tank of gas for me. I couldn't, Michael was in there with the credit card doing that. But every night we stay with a family across the country, that's more money that we can put towards spreading the word. So
and on that note, someone just handed you $60.
Yeah, Frank Heitzer, Germany.
Frank from Germany just handed you $60. And the first thing you do is take a photo of it, send it off to Marion, and say, make sure we make a donation for $60. I mean, I've seen you do that with a check. I've seen you do it. Make sure that money goes where it's going. None of it comes to you. And so let's talk about your sacrifice that you don't want to talk about. Let's talk about a sacrifice of a man who works in Wasaga Beach, Ontario, who has what, an 8-month real estate year?
That's right. Yeah.
And so the months of November, December, January, February, March are kind of real quiet.
They are. Yeah. Quieter.
Yeah. And so, guys, to think about what sacrifice you would have to make to give up 25% of your earning days to walk away from your business, to leave it in the hands of amazing people back at home, but to walk away, to give up 31 days to out of your own pocket, to give back, Bruce, what you and Holly and your wife, the sacrifices Mary's made and Jossie's made, the sacrifices that are being made at your brokerage are so inspiring to people. And you know, I've mentioned it a couple times to you, and every single time I feel kind of bad because I don't relate, but the good, the happiness, the amazing that has come from losing a child, way that you have turned that around, and maybe I need the Kleenex name, the way that you've turned that around and just be so willing to give and inspire and raise money. And I think, you know, the money's so important, but the awareness, the light bulbs that you turn on for other Remax agents that will go on, Dave, and make $25, $50, $100 contributions for every deal they're going to close for the next 25 years. You cannot measure the impact that you've had on this brand and CMN, and then ultimately trickles down to kids. Kids just need. It's what you've done, Bruce. You know, and you've heard it. You've got all the pats on the back, and you're the most humble, sweet man that will never ever say that. But for you and Holly, and you know what you'll do? You'll turn around and go, but Holly and I have all these memories, and we have all the experiences, and that's my reward. But there's no thank yous enough for inspiring so many people.
Yeah, you know, when you talk about Holly, it always gets me. It just gets me because Holly, the sacrifice for that kid, I think people just say, I know. That's how it always gets me when I think about Holly, when I think about Jossie and Mary. Yeah, it is a sacrifice. It's a wonderful sacrifice. We do it every day if we could. But yeah, Holly, we need to take a minute to talk about Holly because that kid is so tough. She is so tough to give up her summer.
Tell the story. Tell the story here, and you know what? And we're gonna
look at how sweet is this.
We're gonna shit.
Yeah, so, let's give a shout out to that.
So this is Holly's helmet. And she's
GoPro on the top.
She signed it, the GoPro. This is Holly's helmet. I am now taking this with me here
You're the
today.
Keeper of the lid.
I will take this to Remax Activate October 21st in October 21st? No, October.
We'll post it. It'll be
anyway.
Up here. It'll be up here on the screen.
I'm taking this to Activate to Whistler, and we're going to auction this off. But Bruce and Holly would sit, obviously Holly would sit behind Bruce, and they had no communication. They would just sit there in their own thoughts. And you would tell the story about what this would mean.
Yeah,
maybe it was on this side.
I'm facing this way, and the helmet, of course, would be behind me. But I would say, Holly, we're going to shut it down. It's 8 o'clock. It's raining sideways. It's getting dangerous. And this little hand would just go like that. Like, let's just keep going. It's always just keep going. That's if Holly has a mantra, it's just keep going. That'd be a great hashtag for her. That's her character. Just keep going. We ride through awful stuff that she guilts me into going through.
And talk about that awful stuff because the thought about what you did, and there's great video of Bruce on the motorcycle returning for the original Motorcycle Miracles, and in the snow, and you would think going coast to coast in one of the most beautiful countries in the world, Canada, in the month of August would just be a piece of cake, sunshine and sun. And when you arrived in Langley, just outside Vancouver, you said from Toronto to Langley, there wasn't a day where you didn't ride in the rain.
Every day we'd rain. Yeah, sometimes it rain for an hour, sometimes it rain all day, every day. And I've never had a trip like that. Holly, I'm not saying you're the rainmaker.
But no complaints from Holly.
None, never. The
For those of you that don't ride a motorcycle, I can tell you, I do. Riding in the rain, riding in the snow, riding in the bad weather ain't any fun.
The wind, Dave, huh? The wind is awful.
Yeah, well, the wind's even the worst.
Yeah.
But you know, it's unbelievable what you did. I don't know how you did it. I wish I was young enough to do it myself, but
we'll do one. But you don't have.
How about a miracle ride where you and you got to get a motorcycle. We'll talk to Tracy about that.
Yeah. You keep working on Tracy.
I'll talk to Tracy.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so we'll kind of lay out the trip. So what happened was I left Wasaga Beach July 22nd for this trip, and took Jocelyn, my 12-year-old, and we rode out to Newfoundland. She kind of wanted to be a part of the trip too, and I love that. We had a blast. So July 22nd all the way out there. We had a few days of rain. Holly flies out, Jossie flies home, and we begin from Janeway Hospital. That was our first hospital visit. And then we proceed to ride and visit all 14 hospitals across Canada until 31st. I then went to Vancouver Island by myself. Holly had flown home already. And I arrived at mile 0. So we actually went from where Terry Fox began his run to where Terry Fox finished his run in Thunder Bay. And then I finished solo at mile 0 in Victoria, where he was supposed to go to. It was very, very, very emotional. I really, really bond with the memory of Terry Fox. He was a big part of my life growing up.
Especially at the age that you are and the age that I was, it was a huge thing. And for people in the States that maybe don't see the geography, Canada's much wider than the States based on geography. So you're talking about riding a motorcycle from Boston to Seattle and then a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the first trip, people think, wow, riding a motorcycle from Wasaga Beach to Costa Rica, that's 1 million kilometers. Well, it was 9,400 kilometers to get down there. It's a long ride. Across Canada, we just did 9,440 kilometers to ride across.
Miles.
Longer across than going down.
So in miles, that would be slightly less, right?
Yeah,
like,
you'd be
like 700, 6,500?
Less than that, probably like 5,800 miles. But the whole trip, riding out with Jossie and then riding across Canada and all the Vancouver Island stuff, I'm just over 13,000 kilometers, which is...
What was that?
5,800.
We've got
5,800. We have
staff.
See, we have the best, producers on the show.
We do. Gelman.
It's amazing. I want to jump into something, and before we're at Leo Bruno's office, and because I want to talk about the golden pen in a second because it's important. I want to talk about money, but I want to talk about real estate for a second, or something that might apply to real estate. Bruce, how has social media impacted the second Motorcycle for Miracle journey?
Well, the first one we had a pretty good interaction, but I was more web-based with the web page and trying to do blogs and things like that. This journey, I don't think I've put a blog post up. It's all been social media. It's all been Facebook, Instagram,
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live, a lot of Facebook Live. That's been a wonderful tool because you can engage people immediately. And then you see your friends joining on. Oh, there's Valerie Garcia. There's Michael Thorne. You see all these people jumping on there, and you interact with them as they can ask you questions about the journey as you're talking. That's been really powerful. I've had great feedback from that, and a lot of views too. You see 1,500, 2,000 views on those short 5 or 6 minute videos. Also, I could whip the phone out the hospital and do a Facebook Live and have everybody be involved. Instead of describing it later, you actually try to capture some of the emotion of the trip. So you bond people further to it. When it's rainy out and you share a quick Facebook Live showing the rain going sideways, people need to know you're suffering before they'll support you, I think. They want to know, yeah, he's going through poop. Okay, well, throw $50 in the account, honey. That's what I think that's a big thing when you're fundraising. If it was sunny every day, it wouldn't feel the same. Right?
And I wasn't a min on your Facebook page because there was a couple of days where Mary was gone and you were busy. And one of the things that I know has happened for certain, and I want you to talk about this because every town you went into, there's someone who came up to you and felt like you guys have known each other, that was completely invested, completely connected to you and to Holly that you'd never met before because of sharing online. And I don't want to just take this about real estate, but we as agents have to realize how real a connection that starts digitally, how quickly that cements when you're face-to-face with somebody else. And you must have all those interactions with people across the country. want people to understand the power of actually putting your soul out there, for sharing your story, for sharing your why, and the connection that comes from that. Because I know there's people like, is there any chance you're going to come when you're coming through? I've got to come see you, and can I drop off some money? And it's an amazing opportunity for people to really connect in a very meaningful way.
Right, and that's a great point, because we now feel like we've got 31 or 40 new best friends. Holly, Mary pointed this the other day. She said, there's no better way that Holly could have ever gone across Canada. If you'd picked the 31 best families in Canada to spend a night with, we found them all. And they all happen to be Remax agents, except for one guy in Quebec whose lawn we slept on. Yvonne, you're amazing too. But really, like, these people, and the seed of the relationship with these people was born in Facebook. It was born in Instagram. Actually, I'll give Facebook full credit. Just about every single person came to me through Facebook. And I'll talk about the champion agents briefly, because it kind of ties into that. 31 days of the month of miracles for Remax, 31 champion agents. Mary and I thought before the journey, if we tried to fundraise before the journey, it would take the pressure off going across the country, so we wouldn't have to during the trip. We could just be invested in spreading awareness of the Children's Miracle Network. So we divided the trip up into 31 geographic sections, but they had more ties to the day than the spot where it was, because some agents, I would reach out, and like Western Canada sold out so quickly. And in Ontario too, a little harder in the East, and have a lot of connections in the East. But the agents who signed up, they became what's called our champion agents. We have 31 champion agents. Michael Thorne, sitting right here, is a champion agent with his team. They enabled us to do this. They gave us the confidence to go out the door with Miracle and start this trip. Because without those first 31 people to say, we got you, we pre-sold those sections for $800 minimum donations. And I think almost everybody who signed up gave more than that. And some of them have given over $5,000. It's I won't say crazy. It's remarkable how much people have given just from that group. So the flag, just the people who signed already, we've got the silver pen. The people who signed the flag in silver are the champion agents. They're the only ones who have silver pen on this flag. Everybody else is on here on black. And you're going to talk about the champion.
Well, let's go. Let's go.
It leads into it.
Let's go. Color number 3.
Color number 3 is the golden pen. So Holly thought of the idea of having this silver pen. She said, Dad, wouldn't it be cool to have the flag, open the flag up, and you see all these silver signatures on here. So generally it was wherever the hospital was for that. So when we're looking at here, children, there's Alberta, that's in Calgary. So there's Kennedy, there's Christian Toomey, there's all the people who supported that hospital in silver. Forevermore, you'll recognize the 31 champion agents. Holly goes, Dad, we should have a $5,000 golden pen. I said, kid, I love you even more. And I honestly, after the flag sold for 30 grand, nothing surprises me in Remax anymore. But I still thought $5,000 is a big ticket to sign a document, to sign a piece of fabric. But again, I underestimated the tangible nature of this document, right? So yeah, we get all the way to BC. And I was saying the further we got in the trip, I was saying it's going to be BC. It's going to be someone in BC. And Leo Bruno.
Knock on the window. Get him in here. Bring Leo in.
Leo Bruno. They're doing an office coaching session right now. This is so great. We're going to kidnap this guy.
Leo's been on the show before. I will link up the show.
I remember him.
I'll be up here somewhere. Leo Bruno's
knowing Leo's energy, it'll be all. He's very timid. So we'll try to
He's unforgettable.
That's unforgettable.
I'm going to bring this up right now.
Save me. I don't have to do any more work. I'm so tired of selling myself that sound.
Like I said, very shy, very timid. World Leo again.
So we're just starting to talk about the gold pen. And you said something to me. You said something just out loud when you grabbed the gold pen. So Leo, $5,000 to put your signature down there, and probably that's not why to put your signature down here. His beautiful daughter wrote this little squiggly. His beautiful daughter wrote this little squiggly right there, and Olivia did that, and then Leo Bruno right there. So why? Why pick up the gold pen? Why cut a check for $5,000? What's in you?
Well, I think in this particular case, like I always don't mind being generous or whatever, because got abundance. But I think in this case is that the reality is that, you know, when you look at it's just, you know, it's not
okay.
Why give? I think it's okay. In this particular case, it's easy because it's Bruce, and what he's done with his daughter is just a unique story. And I think that is something that, for me, That's something I would like to do. So for me, that this resonates, and because it has Children's Hospital and all that, that resonates. And just because I had an opportunity to meet Bruce and have a awesome time with him, and seeing other things, I think it was just easy for me to make that decision. Kristen is, of course, very supportive. So, you know, to have that conversation, she's like, "Yeah, no problem." But I think that Bruce said, "Write something inspirational." Look at, like, it doesn't even look like I was like, my daughter wrote it, but it was give. And you know what? Giving that from Rich Robbins out in Ontario, giving starts the receiving process. And
that's something you said while you were signing the flag. Giving starts the receiving process. And so when we talked about karma, about the trip, we talked about all this goes around, comes around. In order to get that loop in motion, you've got to go out there and start the process by giving.
Yeah. Like, I think that I always talk about watching for the signals. Like, life is full of little mysteries and wonders that you see, and you know, like what happened today is weird, but you know, it's kind of
Terry Fox story.
Yeah. So I find that the opportunity to open up doors comes across easier when you are in a position of giving. And I think of like sometimes like planting a garden, and if you have an abundance of seeds, you can grow a beautiful garden, because even if a few die, well, whatever, you got the other ones. And so I figure if I can give generously in different aspects of my life, whether it's Children's Hospital or whatever, right? It just gives me that opportunity to live a better life through those signals. They become louder and they become clearer, and then they just point you in that right direction of, you know.
You just had your coaching. We heard through the window the word abundance 3 or 4 times. We talked about, my producer, Valerie, and I talked about abundance a lot for the last 2 or 3 days. If you come from a place of abundance, you will be successful in life. Is that something, Leo and Bruce, ask both of you, that is already in you, or can that be turned on? Can you get someone who isn't living in a life of abundance and say something and pull at their heartstrings, or prove to them that that's how the only way to live is to come from a place of abundance, opposed to scarcity?
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think the reason is because, like what Keith's coaching talks about like how oftentimes you can get in a rut, you know, in your brain. It's easy enough to get in that groove and be sad and woe is me and things are terrible. But if, like with what Keith was saying, you just pull out a few things that make it, like what was awesome about today, well, I'm alive, you know, and you just go from the most menial things, then just the giving process. Like, you tell someone, just open up a door for a lady once in a while. Like, that's something that's lost. That's a way of giving, you know, and then just builds from there. And then you do things like this.
I'll tell you one story though. The $5,000 golden pen signature was meant to be for one person. It was meant to be for one person. Not as celebrate a $5,000 direct donation of this flag.
And the only person that could sign in the middle of the flag.
Yeah, that was the idea of it.
Yeah.
But again, Leo, and I just have to celebrate you so much, because you're and I'll tell you everything that you've been doing since we've been here. So Bryce Hansen, a friend in Comox, another wonderful realtor, Bryce said, "Bruce, I'm going to step up. I want to be a golden pen." I said,
"You can't."
I'd love that, man. I love that you're doing this right now, Bryce, because it was Bryce who brought Allie and Fraser to me and introduced me to that couple, and that changed. Like, it really affected me. I said, "Let's call Leo." So Bryce reached out to Leo, and he just texted back all these hearts and thumbs up and all the go for it and all that.
Of course.
So
right. Yeah.
Bryce Hansen's on here. Ron Neal's on here, and apparently,
so let's say
Friends is going to be on here too.
Bryce Hansen,
yep,
$5,000. Ron Neal,
$5,000.
3 golden pens.
Yep. And possibly a fourth. And I don't want to put him on the spot at this point, but possibly a fourth. A very good friend of Leo's who's going to match. He's like, "You did that, I'm doing that." Again, you're bringing that to us. Leo wanted to ship the bike home. BMW Motorrad. I'll say this really quickly. BMW Motorrad Canada has been behind us since the very first day until the very last day of this journey, very quietly making sure that we just rode along in the country. And if anything catastrophic happened, a miracle, they were on it. They didn't have to be. We had new tires put on in Calgary, oil and filter change a couple of times. Nothing. The first trip, we had a headlight bulb go in 22,500 kilometers. This trip, I was telling Bryce that story. The very next day, my headlight bulb went. So 2 trips, all these trips, well over 30,000 kilometers, 35,000 kilometers. Dave, that's 35.
Our producer's on it.
It's like 24,000 miles. 2 headlight bulbs, Dave. Put that in your pipe, Harley smokers. Yeah, so remarkable bike. But that's a Leo story. Leo, we pulled up here in front of the office. I go, "Dude, your window's down." He goes, "No, leave it open in case a homeless guy needs something." He's not kidding when he says stuff like that. Like, here's a guy who's so switched on. Vince Mirabelli, we talked about you. Michael, you're like this. Valerie, you're like this. Valerie Garcia, our unsung producer, we're going to get her over here in a minute. We love that. Like, I'm surrounded by all these phenomenal giving people. How can you not want to give more when you're surrounded? So you are taught to give. We are taught to give. I strongly agree with that. Your question's remarkably apt for right now. It's perfect timing because I've had so many people reach out after Holly and I have given talks at various offices in the hospital account saying, yeah, I'm in. What do I got to do? I want to do more. Melanie Galea. Oh, bless your heart, girl. Look what she wrote right up here. In big capital letters at the top, I will do more. And she already has. We've got a broker in Camosun, Remax Camosun, right over here. Hold that for a second. Yep. And I will say right here, we will be a miracle city because they're not right now. And no, you knew I was going to reach out to you guys in Camosun, and you will be a miracle. You will be the next miracle office in Canada. And I'm proud of you guys because you all attended that event we had 2 days ago in the park, in the rain. and you signed the flag and you made a commitment to this, guys. But there's folks in that office who just didn't know this program existed. And they will be giving forevermore to this program. So yeah, people can learn to give. Yeah, absolutely. If you're surrounded by it, especially. But the karma, Dave said, like, the karma comes back to you in spades, right, Dave?
Yeah, Dave, like, sorry, it's, the thing is about only having 2 people on the show, people don't see you in the lower corner, but you're still here. All this place of abundance stuff, Dave, is something that you and Vanessa have really, one of the reasons why we connect, Dave, a lot is, the amount that you'll give to an agent down the street. You'll open up your listing presentation, you'll say, here's what I've learned, everything about you, Dave, is a place of abundance. Business, personal life, there's just no other way to step out of bed in the morning than to come from a place of abundance.
We here in the United States, Remax agents have a lot to learn from you guys. We really do. I know on the first trip, a lot of people stepped up, but, we got a lot to learn. And I think we all need to rise the bar here.
Well, mobile, and why, Dave? 105 episodes that we've done. We've done, paperless. We've done social media. We've done all these things, and this is a platform that we hopefully get to 1 agent, 2 agents that sees this thing, that turns them on, that inspires them. And that's why we want to do a show like this. If this is the first episode of the show that you've been in, we don't bring Kleenex to a lot of the shows, but this is really the fabric of having a successful business. No website, no lead generation tool is going to make you successful if you don't, at your core, are super healthy as a human being and come from that place of abundance. And there's still so many more things I want to get to. That was a huge one of them. But you have had this sort of hashtag, and there is an Easter egg in the promo video that I sent out. It's in the letter blocks behind you or behind me in the video, and I just wrote up there, double up, and you are approaching $200,000, right?
Yeah, in fact, we're over. So it's hard to quantify, but the trip right now, the Illicit Ray Fund in Toronto is about 175,000. There's at least another 15 heading into it now, so that's got to be close to 190. We've probably had $30,000 donated directly to the CMN communities across the country. So there's 30 more. The sale of the flag, whatever that brings, that's going directly to CMN. The sale, I've got a guitar from a band called Monster Truck in Canada. The sale of Holly's helmet. Please, someone buy this helmet and love it up. This kid wore that helmet. She's autographed it for you and signed Motorcycle Miracles. You can even have the GoPro mount for free.
Only a tech weirdo would say that. I don't even know what a GoPro mount is.
Thanks, Leo. You're a good man.
Thanks,
I lost my train of thought there.
Good Lord. Good Lord. No, but you were talking about the money.
Quantifying, yeah. So quantifying the trip, but I think the thing we're going to be proudest of, and there's no way to quantify this ever, I don't believe. But it's the double up contributions, and it's the people who just joined up because they met Holly, they talked to Holly at the bike, that they heard at the hospital, and they went back to the broker owner and said, I want to participate in that program. I want to be a miracle agent. I want that on my sign from now on. The double up people, if you double up your contribution and do it again in a couple of years, it's such a little amount, guys. For the amount of money that you take out of communities, you work for it. I know you work your tails off, but we make our money from the communities in which we serve. And you're taking money, you make money from the families who you have your name on their lawn. So to give back a little bit from each commission check of those sales, It's such a great gift. And at the end of a 20 or 30 year career in real estate, and believe me, I've got 20 years in and it's gone like that. So the end of a 30-year career, you look back and all of a sudden you've got this legacy that you don't realize you created. It's been quietly building behind you. And all of a sudden you go, whoa, I donated that much to the Children's Miracle Network. That's phenomenal. That feels really good. You will have that opportunity if you double up now and double up again tomorrow or next year. Do it a few times. It feels really good. I promise you this. I doubled up a few years ago. I doubled up again. I've doubled up 3 times in about 5 years. Each of those years, I had my best year ever. What's that about, right? That's that karmic moment, Dave, you're talking about. It's hard to explain that to people who don't get it yet. But the second they get turned on, it starts to fill the abundance, right? There's that abundance. The abundance comes back to them. So double up, guys.
And you know, Jeff and Bobby McGowan in Ottawa.
Jesse Peters.
They doubled up. They did a video about it, inspired myself and Jesse. I would suggest, and many others to double up. Our team's doubled up. I put a video out there talking about doubling up and sort of why we're doing it. And I really challenge all of you. Like, if you are giving $25 for a sale, do 50. If it's 50, make it 100.
Yeah. I know lots of people are doing 150, 250, 300.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will start to come from a place of a Leo Bruno who's got a unbelievably successful team,
yep.
A career. Vince Mir, I mean, all these people, all these miracle agents, and all these people giving. They're all really successful, and you can say, well, it's easy to write a check for $5,000 if you're successful, or easier to write a check but are they successful because they're the character that writes the check? And this is the whole big, where does it start? You've got to start giving to create that abundance cycle, to create that give to get piece that Leah was talking about. This is the interesting part. Miracles journey number 1 was a lot about the journey, a lot about the destination, a lot about from Canada all the way to Costa Rica. And you said this trip was a lot more about the people.
Yep.
Right? With 100%. What have you learned, or what has been reinforced to you about the type of people within this organization of Remax? What's been a consistent thread from coast to coast when you sit down and share in this journey with all these great agents?
The Spanish of the perverts, amistad, this friendship, this beautiful acceptance. I don't know if it's Remax that attracts these people, but Remax is filled with these kinds of people. I would have an area where I wouldn't know anybody, and Valerie Garcia would kind of fly above us with her laser eyes, lay waste to an area if the agents weren't supporting the journey. And the next day, magically, we'd have 60 people at a hospital event, and they buy us a hotel room for the night to give us a break from the road. As the trip rolled further and further along, it was hard for us to pay for a meal. It was impossible for us to pay for a hotel. We did not pay for a single hotel this entire trip. We did not. I don't think I paid for a meal. And
a lot of it was.
It's frustrating.
But a lot of it wasn't even hotels. So these are people saying, "Please come in, come into our home, sit at our dining table."
Honored. I'm so honored. Holly's so honored. Our family's so honored to be accepted, and same with you guys. And it also deepens the friendship, and that brings us back to your social media point about Facebook starts they plant these seeds, but then you deepen them by staying with people and getting to know them on a deeper level. When you are a guest in someone's home, you learn everything about that family very quickly, and they learn lots about you too.
And there's a lot of stops along the way that there's a lot of Remax agents fighting for the opportunity to be generous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sweet,
like, can you
sweet.
please come stay at our house while I've already made a commitment? And that's amazing to be around these people and to be inspired by these people, to connect with these people. I mean, one of the really cool things I got to do was I got to edit the champion agent videos. He would Dropbox them to me, and you could see, and when he's doing these videos, you would hear these stories about these agents, and these are just 31 agents you told stories of. There's thousands of agents that are like this. When you hear these stories of what people are doing in their own hometown that do it completely without any braggadocious nature whatsoever, just go out and give, and you hear about stories that people have also been through the same scenario. Like, this is not an isolated incident, and until you put it out in the light, until you start talking about it, you realize the fabrics that connect us all. But the amount of amazing human beings that are out there, I mean, I think, Dave, and it's something that Gary Vee has said many, many times, we can look in the news, we can talk about all the stories. I think the human being is like Gary says, one of the most underrated brands in the world. I think human beings generally, by default, are amazing creatures. They're amazing creatures.
Holly was so disappointed after the first journey, a 6-week ride to Costa Rica. We took this big green bag filled with camping gear. We camped this many times on the first trip. This time she's like, Dad, we're gonna camp, right? We're gonna camp. And I camped with Jocelyn going out to Newfoundland a few times. Holly and I got to camp one time in this whole trip. It was virtually impossible to need, we just had places all the time, everywhere. And it really enriched the trip. So we didn't have a danger aspect on this trip. There was a bit of a danger aspect on the trip through Central America. This trip really was about the people and the country. And you want to shout from the rooftops, hey, Canada, you have a pretty good gig here. Quit bitching about stuff that's so little. Like, we are the luckiest country in the world. We truly are. To be able to leave helmets on the mirrors and leave the bag outside at night. I parked the bike on Tony Joe's lawn for 2.5 days. I didn't even think about it. I could not do that in other places in the world. I'm not going to shame any countries because we've had great experiences everywhere, but it's just a really, really remarkable place. That's one of the things Holly will take away from this trip, and Jocelyn too, going out. Yeah, way to go, Canada.
Two more things as we get to our hour. Two more things, it's one of those ones that it's the theme of the show. Goes around, comes around. Karma. Start the process. You for whatever reason, your gas tank ran out of gas at a certain point along the trip in Quebec City, and you pulled into a gas station in Quebec City, and you started filling up with gas. I think this story is so at the end of this, it's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. And when I heard the story through Facebook, I was just finishing up dinner with my wife. We were sitting down having a glass of wine, and Tracy came to a screeching halt in our living room and says, "You gotta come see this." And it's just, it pulls at you. So go ahead and tell the story.
So the first trip when Mary and I were at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto, November 4th, 2013, we're leaving that morning. I was getting Holly ready for the road. I said, let's go to breakfast. So we walked down to Cora's Diner, which is downtown Toronto, really close to Sick Kids. And I said to Mary, I was holding the door open for her, I remember this vividly. I said, just like a sign that everything's going to be okay, that we're doing the right thing.
You're taking your 12-year-old daughter.
12-year-old daughter into some really dangerous places. And we walk in there and just some sign.
Not New Jersey, Dave, just dangerous places. They never went to New Jersey.
I wouldn't be afraid of us either. So we're walking in the restaurant and we sit down, and the waitress comes walking over, and she has a little name badge on. She says, "Hi, my name's Alyssa. Can I take your order?" And it floored us, of course, because we're riding in memory of Alyssa. I don't know more than 2 Alyssas in my entire life.
I don't know any. I told you this. I don't know any.
So bizarre, that moment. So very emotional moment for us. She's actually become a very good Facebook friend of mine over the years. My parents went and visited her. We just kind of connected to that Alyssa. So this moment in Quebec, we hadn't had an Alyssa moment of this journey yet. We're in Quebec. I meet a young woman at a gas pump. I'm just looking around. It's one of those gas stations in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of forgotten by time. You're almost pumping the gas by hand. And I heard this English, and I look around, there's no one there. And English, and it's this tiny, tiny woman, 23 years old. And she said, "Do you speak English?" I said, "Yeah, I do, barely." And she said, do you have any idea what the weather is going to be? And I'm trying to get to Quebec City. And this was actually our second longest day of the trip. So Holly and I were baffed already. We had about another 5 hours to go. And so I thought, wow, you've got 5 hours ahead of you too. So we talked for a few minutes. She said, "Well, I've been traveling for 1.5 years around North America all by myself." And I thought, wow, what a great model for my child to see, for my 2 girls to have someone like that, not afraid of the world. Because people are always filling young women's heads, especially with the world's so scary. And she's like, it's not scary at all. People are great. She was couch surfing across North America. I said, well, look, there's a car coming in. Let's push our bikes over here and have a couple minutes of a chat. I said, by the way, I'm Bruce. This is my daughter, Holly. She said, oh, my name's Alyssa. And Holly looked at me and said, "Don't cry, Dad." Oh, man, that blew me away. So she...
And for that, Alyssa was born in 1998.
Yeah. No, she's 23. Wasn't born in 98. But
No. Sorry, you're Alyssa.
yeah.
So when you kind of look at an,
Oh, I know, yeah.
an older
Like,
person
very-
that kind of
very close,
looks
yeah.
like the right, same age.
She would have been 18 and Alyssa's 23. And we follow, like we see the children of our friends who were pregnant at the same time we were pregnant with Alyssa. Their kids are going off to university this year. They're in prom. We do track that. I don't know if Mary does. I think she does, but I do all the time. So Alyssa and I talked for a little while and really, really remarkable kid. She had no social media other than Snapchat. Couldn't reach this person anywhere. She had text too. And so I said, look, if you're going through Wasaga Beach, I won't be there, but my wife will be there. My family's there. You have a safe place. You have a place to go and hang out. So Holly and I went to Tobermory, and my family's going to come over and camp at Tobermory with us. We're going to meet them again. I hadn't seen them in weeks. And before we got there, Alyssa's bike needed some work. So I wrote to some friends on Wasaga Beach, said, look, if she comes through there, take her bike to the shop, get the parts. We'll pay for the parts. Just get her healthy, because people did that for me when I was that age. So I that's pay it forward, right? I just wanted to pay for the stuff, put it on her bike so she was safe. She wanted to get home before her 24th birthday, which was August the 23rd. She lived in Olympia, Washington. She had a long way to go. And she was going from Newfoundland to Victoria. Really funny, our exact route. So who's in Tobermory with my entire family? I get off the bike, it's pouring rain. I look over, she's sitting under the awning. There's Alyssa with my mom and dad and my brother, my nephews. She became part of the family. So she rode with Holly and myself for 2 more days up to Thunder Bay. Vince Mirabelli took her under his wing. Vince also arranged to have Mary and Jocelyn fly up and surprise us. Thank you, Vince. And so Mary got a chance to meet Alyssa too. So this little Spitfire she just kind of became part of our family. She actually signed the flag right there. Alyssa Napoleon, point to right there. Yeah, so that was our magical Alyssa moment of this trip, and she'll be a part of our lives probably forever. She's a remarkable kid.
Amazing. It's Dave, stuff like that. I mean, the talk about. I do want to say this because I don't want to flatter myself too much, but I'm a giving guy. Like I want to let you know that I've got a good heart. Maybe not a Leo Bruno or Vince Mirabelli. This is my better side. Yet I sat over here because this is his better side. So the sacrifices I make, I come from a place of abundance where half of me is abundant.
Always giving.
Always giving. Dave, I want to ask anything you want to ask. Anything hearing these stories? Anything you want to add? Anything from your side there, Dave?
Well, that Alyssa story was the story in the first one in the diner that kind of like, whoa, that blew me away. And then here's another one, and I did follow that on Facebook. I saw her pictures, cute little kid, and it's just amazing. What are the odds of that? I mean,
yeah.
I would say to everybody watching, this sort of bring this full circle for me is number one. Well, you said it before. Go look at episode 50. That's going to give you a foundation for what these guys are talking about. Because a lot of it, I'm very privy to what we're talking about here. A lot of people are probably sitting back going, I'm still a little fuzzy on the whole thing. Look at episode 50. Believe that karma works, and karma only works when you start the karma. It doesn't just show up at your door. So that's what I say. And Bruce, I've only had the privilege of personally being in your presence for that short period of time in my life, like a dot. But I feel like you're a friend forever. You're an amazing man. What you've done and what you continue to do, and I know that you will do for the rest of your life, is just nothing short of amazing. And I thank you personally for it. And I know that everybody in the Remax family does the same thing. You're a great human being. Thank you.
Yeah, he certainly is. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. That's what we can say.
Sweet. Thanks, Dave.
So, where does Motorcycle for Miracles go now? I mean, we talked about. I think this is the last question I asked you last time, and you weren't really sure where it was. Like, what now?
Holly has something in her head. It would be on such a grand. The emotional spend on this journey was more than I thought it would be. So I don't know how soon after we could do another journey, because it really is. We, like I said, everything's on the road. Like, we left everything out there. But these trips evolved. This trip evolved. I didn't have a clue we were going across Canada when I finished the last trip, and I was talking to you guys then. So I don't know where it'll take us, but I kind of have an idea. Just trying to figure out how to quantify it to make it another fundraising vehicle. But we're really proud of the fact that this was more about raising awareness for the Children's Miracle Network this time. I think, well, mission complete as far as And Month of Miracles, Remax supporting CMN. We get a lot of really good press. The press was wonderful actually to us. They allowed us to put Remax in a lot of news stories that normally they edit that stuff out. So that part's been wonderful. The CMN is out there everywhere. People across Canada certainly know. If they follow the trip, they know what CMN is now. Just need people to be aware of what you have in your communities. These hospitals that sit in these 14 cities across Canada, you folks are awfully lucky to have that.
And the theme of give to get, the idea that Bruce and Mary were making a contribution to CMN before you needed it, is that give to receive aspect. Like, let's, you know, you can think about that, you know, in life, like just start going out there, being involved, because one day it'll be your kid or your grandkid or your next door neighbor's kid. I mean, the amount of people that says, yeah, I know what that was like, or I have a similar story, or me too. The amount of those, we've all been there. And like you say, you know, under 18, you haven't set yourself up for this to be something that you're at fault with. Right. This is the way it is. And before we wrap it up, because I want to wrap up with one thing, we're back. We're here every week for the next 3 months or so. We're even booking into January. We're going to do a couple live shows, one from Remax Recharge in Toronto, one from Remax Recharge in Boston. But the rest of those shows will be at their standard time, Friday mornings on the West Coast at 10 a.m., 1 o'clock on the East Coast. We did this special because you get to finally go home. You've missed your wife. You've missed your anniversary. You've got to go home. You're taking the red eye home. But next week we have Chris Lindahl, Friday, September 16th, 1 o'clock Eastern. I always say it wrong. 10 o'clock Pacific. Remax Results. You guys have heard of Chris Lindahl. He's one of those out-of-the-box thinkers, risk-reward guys. He goes big in a very short period of time. We're going to pick his brain. That's going to go back to the traditional Remax episode. But Melanie Gallia, who signed the flight, says, I will do more, always ends the show asking us to tell 5 other agents. That's our ask. That's say, hey, we're giving a little bit of value, but that's not going to be the ask this episode. My ask, Dave asks, Mobile Agent TV's ask will be to do at least one of the following 3 things, perhaps. I want you to go to motorcycleformiracles.com. At worst, this won't cost you anything. Read Alyssa's story. Read Bruce and Mary's story. Get an understanding of a family. Do that. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're moved or relate to any of that, go to motorcycleformiracles.com/donate. All right? Make a donation. Now, you have to understand, when you give to the Alyssa Ray Fund, that money is going to the Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. It's not going to your CMN like you do in your Miracle Networks. It stays in your neighborhood. You know, that's to support the CMN Hospital in Toronto. If you want to improve your business, if you want a marketing leverage over your competition, if that's the only reason why you put a Miracle Home rider on the top of your sign, good enough for me. I don't really care why you do it. The end result is you're helping kids, you're giving back to the community, and you might start to become aware of the impact. If you're only doing it for a business perspective, go ahead and do that. But you have an opportunity to double up. You have an opportunity to start. You have an opportunity to call yourself a Remax office. Remax Camosa, amazing. That's Tony Joe's outfit, by the way, or he's part of that office, and no surprise, and we know some other people, Karen Singbull is there too as well, and some other great agents. No surprise that those agents are going to jump on board and be a Miracle Office. So those are the 3 things. Go read the story, donate to the Alyssa Ray Fund, or become a Miracle Agent, or double up. I mean, it's just, there's nothing else to say than that. I mean, you've heard Leo Bruning, you've heard Vince Mirabelli's story, you've heard these things. You will have your best year 3 years in a row when you double up. We're having our best year because I think we continue to just come back from a place to just do more in our community, help the people out at Christmas time. We talked about this all the time, Dave. Just give, and it puts you in a position to have that opportunity to receive. Dave, anything about challenging an agent? Anything you'd say to maybe an American Remax agent, and you've been around, you've gone to office talking about the value of CMN? Anything that helps the challenge more than what I just said?
Well, nothing more. I mean, I've said it, what I just said before about going to episode 50, going from there, and you said it all. I really don't have a whole hell of a lot more to say other than if you're just putting I agree with you, Michael. If you're just putting it on the sign for business, that's fine. But I'm telling you, there's way more to it than that.
Certainly.
You do it without expecting anything coming back, and it will come back to you. I guarantee it. It will. Like I guarantee who's going to win the World Series. I guarantee this will come back to you.
Okay, on that note, let's end a little bit happier, a little bit not happier, because this is happy, a little bit more up. I know the T-shirt you're wearing because I've seen it on social media before, and I didn't see it at the beginning of the show. You got to talk so we can see it. Dave, you got to talk so you can see it. Dave.
Clap your hands, Dave.
Dave.
I had the cough button on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but because the cough button's on, no one saw your shirt because you weren't talking. This is episode 105, Dave. Now talk.
There it is. Your wife, my wife.
And Dave, you are going through some injuries. Your Mets have some injuries there. Is it all going to come together? Are you going to be able to get these guys healthy in time to
won
push
14 out of the last 17 games? We're a half game out of the wild card, my friend. And we have lightning in the bottle. We got all the young guys. We're going to get there again. I'm very confident of it. And I think Boston, like I predicted, and maybe Toronto, maybe.
And the thing about maybe Toronto's been in first place or had a share of first place for what seems 3 weeks, yet they haven't won. So I don't know. They just can't win a game right now. But anyway, on that note, Dave, and to the Mobile Agent TV audience, and Dave, I'll say this. The reason why we were on the air was the best of reasons. We're super busy, and this is a passion project that we both value very, very much. But super excited to get back on the air. We've got a new intro. We got new lower thirds. We got a new little look at it. We got new microphones that I hope sounded better. Did this sound better this time, Dave? I think.
It sounds much better.
And super excited to be back. Tons of awesome episodes. Dave, I've missed you. You're an amazing human being. You're an amazing man. And thank you for all you do. And Bruce Johnson. How do people get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of your story? How do people send you a referral in Wasaga Beach? Because my goodness gracious, you deserve it. How do people do that?
It's all the home hunt. We're all the home hunt through all social media and also Motorcycle Miracles. So yeah, that's it. But I just quickly want to say thank you to everybody. I'll look right in the camera. Thank you to everyone who touched this project this summer. To those who hosted us, to those who donated, to those who fed us, to those who made everything easier so we could just focus on delivering this message across the country. Thank you very much. And thank you, Michael.
And on that note, Leo Bruno got Valerie Garcia a birthday cake. So we're off to have cake. So travel safe home, buddy. I love you, and we'll hug it out in a second. But thank you guys all for watching. We'll see you next week with Chris Lindahl, Friday, September 16th, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern at mobileagentTV.com. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, guys.